Season 2, Episode 3 of The Mandalorian. Find out all the awesomeness that lies in store. Not only will I be bringing a review, but also some delicious Easter eggs. Right here on All Comics Access. Hey, welcome to All Comics Access. It is your host, Joe, the Beast McCoy, aka the Mixed Marvel, and there are no words to express the excitement, the joy, everything that was brought into fruition with this amazing episode. I mean, if you were a non-believer before because of the last episode, this one just had to make you a believer, because I was just flabbergasted. I guess that's the word. But before we get into the proceedings, if you haven't already, please make sure to like the video to help out and subscribe to the channel, because I will be bringing you weekly reviews on The Mandalorian and also some other gems on some other Star Wars goodness down the line. Alright, so let's get into all this goodness that we saw in this excellent episode. So right off the bat, it picks up where we left off previously on episode 2, which was chapter 10? Yeah, chapter 10. So this right here, he's heading with the lovely frog lady and baby Yoda right here to the water moon of Trask. Now we do know his ship, the Razor Crest, was a little bit roughed up, he had some rough times on the previous planet. And it definitely was not easy for him going into the atmosphere. He definitely set on fire. We've seen this a time or two in the Star Wars universe. Alright, so what's crazy, he's trying to make a crash landing. What I got kicked out of right off the bat was seeing the AT-AT walkers. I mean, they found work and life after the Empire. You can't beat that. We saw them basically recycled as cranes of some sort to help pull our buddy Din Djarin out of the water, which was great. Now, what was pretty notable, once they got out safely and onto this lovely seaport of the area of Trask, he talks to a Mandalorian and asks him to fix the ship. Din Djarin knows his stuff because the Mandalorian, who we know from the Return of the Jedi.
Enemy ships in Sector 47. It's a trap.
So, while we know them through Star Wars history to be very well known for fixing ships and great with mechanics. Now, what's interesting, we see a touching scene when a lovely frog lady reuniting with her husband. Things are all brought together for them. And of course, the husband thanks our great Mandalorian guide and ever so happy. Then he's back on the mission, Mr. Din Djarin. Now, what's interesting, we see the dark hooded Sasha Banks. But, as we learned throughout the episode, she is not Sabine Wren like many of us thought she would possibly be, or Inquisitor. She actually is a Mandalorian by the name of Casca Reeve. We see that the Mandalorian makes sure that Baby Yoda gets a little food at a local restaurant. As usual, Mandalorian is on a mission. He's not hungry for food, rather for information. He slips him a little something extra. What's pretty cool, you might recognize the currency he handed him, which is known as the Mandalorian flan. Now, we saw this Mandalorian flan in the first season when Mandalorian was being paid initially for one of his original bounties. Then our journey takes an interesting turn as he is connected with a local ship captain who's a Quarren, who says he can lead him to his people. And of course, he jumps on the ship and they are ready to make some moves. Through the journey, of course, though, it's not as he thought originally. in actuality, it's a double cross. So we see that, Baby Yoda is ferociously kicked into this part of the ship that has this monstrous carnivorous beast known as a mama core, which I thought was pretty crazy. I was like, how can you treat Baby Yoda like that? But these are wild times. And of course, Mandalorian jumps in to save the child, and he's locked down there. All seems lost, but then suddenly, out of nowhere, out of the sky, comes a group of fellow Mandalorians to save him in the nick of time. They take down everyone so swiftly, so quickly, so precise. And then, of course, they open up the cage to save the Mandalorian himself, Din Djarin. We notice the crest on her person and also on the other female Mandalorian that it is a owl symbol, because it is basically the Night Owls, which are an elite team of female Mandalorians from times past, which we are very well aware of. And it was great to see this come to fruition, because we had heard the rumors, we had seen the things, and definitely hoping it's true. We know the lovely Bo-Katan for being a great leader. The same individual that voiced Bo-Katan in the Clone Wars series, Katee Sackhoff, is actually playing her. And I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better casting job. She looks exactly like Bo-Katan. And it's pretty phenomenal just to see her go to work and do the thing. To basically Din Djarin's surprise, we saw that the group of Mandalorians that had saved him willingly took off their helmets. This definitely disgusted Din Djarin greatly, because he was raised in the way of one particular path of the Mandalorian where one is never to remove their helmet. But we learn quickly that there are two separate belief systems. Tells him, hey, you're part of a zealot cult that had broken off from the original Mandalorian way. It's very interesting to note that these so-called zealots she called Children of the Watch. If that sounds familiar, well, I'm very sure it breaks off from the original Death Watch that was on Mandalore. He's not necessarily making reference to the plan itself. He's making reference to Mandalore the Great, which we learned from Season 1 is what their system of beliefs are based off of. So it was interesting, of course they had a little bit of contention. So then Djarin heads back to the port, and we see before the group of the Mandalorians that are led by Bo-Katan could leave the ship, they decide to blow it up. But what was pretty interesting, when Din Djarin was about to get attacked by a group of Quarren, basically they came to his aid once again. I really respected how they put aside their different system of belief and remained loyal to the Mandalorian creed of supporting each other. So basically, we're meeting afterwards to grab something to eat with the Night Owls. Din Djarin is learning of the purpose of Bo-Katan and the mission that her and her group are on. Get their hands on the proper weapons in order to take over Mandalore, the plan of Mandalore once again, so they can be back in their original home, living peacefully. But of course, Din Djarin speaks of his purpose, which is to take the lovely Baby Yoda to one of the Jedi. And it's initially that this is the journey he was sent on from when he left his planet. Bo-Katan speaks of knowing a particular Jedi, and certainly will lead him to him if they help him on the mission that they have at hand. But in order to get this information, the mission at hand is to steal weapons from this Imperial Gozanti freighter. Now, it's pretty funny, if this ship looks slightly familiar, this version in particular is from the Star Wars Rebel series. And I got a kick out of, before he goes on his mission with Bo-Katan and the crew, that, he leaves the Baby Yoda with the Frog family. I truly was a little bit concerned because I was like, what happens if this kid gets hungry? Because you know we know we know how Baby Yoda gets. You know, but hey, he told him to behave, and I guess Baby Yoda followed suit. All right, so I have to tell you, this is one of the best action scenes I've ever seen in the Mandalorian series. I mean, granted, it's the second season, but I mean, between the two, I love the precision that they went in and took over this ship. I mean, it was like nothing to them taking down these stormtroopers. What was pretty funny, when you hear that alarm go off as they're making their way through the ship, that is very reminiscent of the Death Star alarm when things are going down in times past. So as they make their way to the cargo bay where all the weapons are stored, we see the fabulous arsenal that lays before them. Din Djarin, of course, thinks, hey, this is end of the deal. This is where it all goes. But then quickly things take a crazy turn. Din Djarin learns that Bo-Katan's true intentions were to actually take over the entire ship. Of course, Din Djarin's ready to slip out because he's like, whoa, this is much more than I could have ever bargained for. Now, what's interesting to note, we notice Bo-Katan had grabbed a communicator in order to talk with the ship's captain. And this communicator looks familiar. It's because we had seen the same communicator used in the New Hope of the original Star Wars trilogy. This Moff Gideon is a very militant, crazy kind of guy. We see that, you know, when he appears on the hologram, it's very reminiscent of The Empire Strikes Back, and it definitely is reminiscent of the same dashboard, Vader's hologram of The Empire Strikes Back. But it's crazy to see how, you know, Moff Gideon is extremely militant, because the protocol was, hey, you failed this mission. All right, I need you to pull a kamikaze. There's no surrender, no retreat, so you know what to do. It was pretty wild to see the ship captain, the commander, essentially kill both of his people and then attempt to crash the ship itself. I was like, whoa, talk about some dedication. Wow. Now, what's interesting, when all things seem lost and, you know, the situation is a little wild, Din Djarin blows me away with making the ultimate sacrifice. He takes some thermal detonators and he goes out there, puts himself in the middle of all the shooting and throws it to the troopers that make a way for them. Talk about going above and beyond, especially for some people you just met. Speaks a lot about Din Djarin's character and why he's such a great Mandalorian. So quickly, Bo-Katan and Din Djarin and the group run up there to try to save the ship, because they definitely can tell that it's you know, heading towards a crash. Quickly, we learn as Bo-Katan is interrogating the commanding officer of the ship. You know, she does have a connection with Moff Gideon. She knows of him, knows that he has the dark saber, and she is definitely set on getting the information she needs out of him. In an unsuspecting twist, we see that he commits a cyanide, you know, old school spy type of thing. The ship's captain activates his, what they like to call the death tooth, and this death tooth obviously kills him. If you're wondering if this seems a little bit familiar, we remember references from the Star Wars Phasma novel and also the Galaxy's Edge Black Spire novel as well. Much to her word, Bo-Katan tells Din Djarin of where she can find the Jedi she knows of. And who is it? None other than the lovely Ahsoka Tano. I'm like, whoa, this is who we've been waiting for. This is why I've been waiting to hear about Ahsoka Tano. Basically, she tells the Mandalorian that she is located in the city Calodan in the forest world of Corvus. Now, what's pretty awesome, we're excited to find out about this because this draws into everything we've been hoping for, to figure out what was the mystery of Ahsoka Tano. Because if you're familiar with the Rebels series, we know that was the last whispers of her when she had disappeared after the battle in Endor to find a lost Jedi. Now, this is pretty exciting for all of us. I'm just really, really, focused on seeing how this is all going to come together. Alright, so, yeah, that pretty much wraps up everything here. As far as my review, the few Easter eggs I was able to lay down. Now, I'm very interested in knowing the direction of where things are going to go, because we know with the Mandalorian series, nothing essentially is a straight line. 1 minute he's headed on a mission, but obviously can get a little bit of a detour. Because, I mean, let's be honest, we saw that ship, the metal's falling off. It looks like, I don't know, some sort of, seaport thing inside with the fishnets and stuff. Yeah, so I'm very curious to see if the ship even makes it there. I don't know. He might have to make a pit stop or something. But, please, all my fellow geeks and geekettes, please let me know, what's your thoughts? What do you think is in the coming future as far as, when he meets up with Ahsoka Tano, or what's some other theories that you might have? Please feel free to comment down below. And most importantly, please remember, before we wrap everything up here, to like and subscribe as well. Help out the channel. And also, if you are interested in getting your hands on your own little baby Yoda or any wonderful Mandalorian merchandise, please click the link down below to grab your goodies. Helps out the channel. A little bit of affiliate action. Alright folks, so as usual, I appreciate your time. I want you to keep your head up, stay awesome, and whenever you're feeling down and out, always remember, rise up and geek on.
If you see Francis, tell him I'm looking for him. I need to find him. Let me know where he is. He's gonna get served.